So thank you very much, and sorry to be too fast, but this is how digitalization has to go on, right? We have to be a little bit faster. And this is also how I would like to start my presentation. Let's elevate. Yeah, thank you very much. This is to listen to this, because I think this is showing what we today not have. All those cool technologies on our shop floor. We don't have it, right? Is it a fact? We have some lighthouses, but we not have brought it into reality on the, let's say, large scale. And I would like to introduce here also our founder. He passed away already, but he was one very forward-thinking man. And this is also what we have in our organization. And this was also for me something what I wanted to bring to the pharma world. I started 90, and I would like to tell you a little bit of a story, what I have here for myself, for digitalization, and also with this country, India, because I spent also a significant time here for digitalization project. So bringing pharma and digitalization transformation to the world. This was my mission. I started in 92 in a software company where I was 65 in the company. So ambitious people, computers, okay, we had some, and we started to make, let's say, automation processes and projects. And I was responsible at that time for consulting and also for selling this to pharmaceutical companies, and we accelerated a little bit. So we got into the industry, and my passion goes on. I started now founding several activities, especially in ISPE. I started in ISPE. Hopefully everybody knows it. Who is ISPE a member here? Do we have some members? Okay, we have to improve this. This is definitely something I can strongly recommend, because it's a great platform for us. As an industry, we saw that we have to work together, we have to exchange information, and we have to also communicate this with the regulators, and I will talk about this a little bit more in a minute, that we are communicating and bringing us to the next level also with the regulators hand in hand. Yeah? We have to little bit change also our way of working here. And the baseline guide Pharma 4.0, which is out now, since December last year, brand new. And this is collecting, let's say, the work of the last 7 years of more than 30 people, which are working now in the industry and working on case studies. Besides that, my second big hobby is quality. Because I think the cost of quality and what automation and digitalization and digital transformation can do for quality, who is really gaining the most benefit in our organizations, bringing digital transformation in? Guess what? Quality. And the second point is, everything is changing, it's for quality, because paper is going away. We have transparent data. We have to bring data integrity in here. We have new systems we bring in, challenges of computer systems validation. We have cybersecurity. So this has certain quality in there. Yeah. So for me, quality is the most important piece. And this is, I guess, process performance and product quality monitoring system. From where do you know it? ICH-Q10, exactly. This is what I wanted to hear. And so this is why I hooked into this group. It's named APQ, Advancing Pharmaceutical Quality, and I was heading this guide. This is interesting, right? I'm a mechanical engineer, you have just heard. I'm not out of quality. I'm working in the software industry. It was really interesting for me that the ISPE asked me, why that? Because the impact on PPPQMS from the digitalization standpoint is tremendous. The control strategy is in the electronic systems in the future. So this is a tremendous change from the quality perspective. And this is how I came to the job to head this guide. And we published it already 1 year ago. And with this guide, you will see also a maturity model coming with it and how to strategy. I think it is not fully working. The control strategy so that you are having it at the end digitalized. My story with India is also very, very exciting because I started to travel to, say, starting 2007. And then I got into contact with the company Dr. Reddy's. And Dr. Reddy's, at that time, Mr. Singh, perhaps some of them, Mr. Villas and Mr. Sanjay Mantri, they asked me to bring an MES into an Indian company. And this was really exciting. And Dr. Reddy's, we just saw the success story here. They have now many of installations of electronic batch recording systems in their sites. They have standardized on that. They have all the benefits already. They have transparent data analytics in there. And so I'm very happy that after so many years, I'm coming back to Dr. Reddy's now and see what they have done so nice. But let's start the story at the beginning. Why do we need digital transformation? Do we do it because we want to have a digital tool on our shop floor? No, I don't think so. I think the driver is very clear. The driver is that we are having pharmaceutical quality in our product. I think you know these slides. And you know also this lady who said that the 21st century initiative of ISP, that was a driver, actually, the quality expectations, the supply chain resilience. I think this is what is really important for our industry and especially for our patients at the end. I think the patient comes first. We heard this already this afternoon. I think this is inevitable. But the story is a little bit longer and more tricky. Do you remember the PAT guidance from 2004 when it came out from FDA? This was the beginning when the first, let's say, quality by design ideas came into the industry. We had the ideas around process understanding should come into our processes. Yeah, this is an initiative which at the end, with Ali Afnan, he traveled around the world, he prayed it into the industry, but PAT projects were very seldom adopted. Yeah, so this was really not a big success. And even the term QBD became a little bit of a negative aspect. And for that purpose, at a certain point, we retired our initiative. I was heading this initiative in Germany, Austria, Switzerland as an ISPE, made international conferences and all that stuff, but it was not successful. Perhaps the term PAT was wrong, and also the maturity of our systems to provide and to help with PAT were not matured enough. In 2015, it came that some guys I was working before in this PAT initiative, we sat together and said, hey, what do we have to do differently now? We have now Industry 4.0 out. We have ideas around the integration of equipment. Our equipment is more automated than in the past. And I said, okay, what can we do now? And this is a moment where we said, okay, we need something like plug and produce, what we call it. So we need the shop floor integration first. This is the most important piece. We have to get the data. Data integrity was growing at that moment. And we said we need to integrate all our equipment. We need accurate data. We need real-time data to make accurate decision-making based on this data. And this is the moment when Pharma 4.0 was born, the term, because we created it out of Industry 4.0. And another one came in, We had, of course, a lot of quality people in this working group as well. And we said, okay, what do we need? The control strategy, as I mentioned before, ICHQ10, PQS system, this is the core of our control strategy design. It is all serving quality. So we did write, and with a group of 4 people, we did write an article about the holistic control strategy. So what is this? This is enhancing the control strategy from ICHQ10 end to end, including also, of course, the raw materials up to the patient, the whole supply chain, and we covered it, and I will explain it in a minute, a little bit more in detail what the scope is as a concept. And we did win this Article of the Year award. And guess what? Because nobody was thinking before about it. This was the feedback we received. And so our group did grow quickly. We had 8 working groups now working on this. And today we are 2,900 community of practice members in ISP. Totally, we are more than 20,000 now. And 3,000 are around working in this group. And we did write at the end, I mentioned it already, this baseline guide. So this is really now summarizing the knowledge of all these people, writing all their thoughts together. This was a lengthy process of 1.5 years where we did bring this together in several different, from all the different aspects you have in a digital transformation process and project. So my recommendation is take this guide, read it. It's really useful. It has also chapter 1 and 2 for top management awareness making chapter, which had been written by chief digital officers from Merck Darmstadt and Roche, and also from Takeda. So we really have experience and case studies in there which are real, and there are more than 35 case studies also structured, evaluated in this guide, and including, and this is the best one, I talk about this as well in a minute, a maturity model. A digital business transformational maturity model, easy to apply, it's based on Excel. Talking about regulations, just one short word on this. We think in our team that we don't need additional regulations. We have enough. Yeah. Even Annex 1 was a little bit a pain for all of us. This is to be discussed, and we have a lot of conferences around Annex 1. We don't need it more. We need a little bit of a restriction and guidance around AI, no doubt about it, but Pharma 4.0 is not only bringing AI on the shop floor. This is by far not the goal. It's one small part of it. It makes perhaps our life easier in the future, but definitely it is not the only one. Accelerate. I like this motto of this conference. Elevate, accelerate. What can we do? So we said, what do we do now to describe digital transformation? Do we start on a blank paper? No, we don't want to do it. So we took the Industry 4.0 papers. We took Industry 5.0 from the European Commission. An interesting aspect, which I like very much, is that they are also writing on the human centricity in here, and which is coming to change our society from a shareholder community to a stakeholder community. What I like here in India is still that we have a lot of family-owned businesses. This is great. I'm caring myself for Boehringer Ingelheim, a family-owned company. This is totally different from a shareholder-based company. And I can tell you, 30 years, I traveled around the world, I saw a lot of different companies. And it's really nice to see that the owner-driven companies have a totally different culture inside. So we took this, talking about this in a minute, as a core. We call it the operating model. This is this colorful dot here in the middle. And we said, okay, what do we need as well? So we need human centricity, very important, cultural change. We have the aspect, of course, of the drug shortage prevention. Yeah. This is driving all our regulators in Europe and in the US. This is core. And of course, the sustainability aspect. Yeah. We have to get into a green society sooner or later. So the operating model. This is taken from Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0 contains 4 elements: resources, information systems, organization, culture. So all aspects are already covered and well described. What we did now is that we added now the aspects which are special for pharma to this guide and to this operating model. So all the GMP requirements, the validational aspects, life cycle, ICH-Q12, ICH-Q10, of course, is the basis, risk management, all what we have in GAMP. All this was flying into this model as well. And we have, of course, enabler, which are data integrity by design, the data integrity guidelines from the different authorities. And of course, digital maturity, we are continuously measuring because we want to see later on our success. So measuring before, measuring after a project, how successful we are with the implementation. And as I mentioned, quality is in the heart of this initiative for digital transformation. We have very clearly here from the regulators, the quality management maturity program set up. I think the FDA left already, right? The lady, okay, good. So this is actually what is driving us around, right? This all started with quality metrics. I can talk another hour about this, but I have not the time for this. Just to emphasize that our regulators, and we have steady contact from ISPE with the regulators, I think this is the important part, that we are in ISPE, we are a neutral platform to communicate with the regulators. This is very, very helpful because we can ask all these silly questions and we can discuss, for example, also the baseline guide. We did send to the regulators and we got feedback. So we have also steady telephone calls with them where we are talking about current transformation, discussion points and the things which we think are disputable. Secondly, we do have the IDMA as a second example I would like to bring here. There's a quality innovation group. The quality innovation group, very surprisingly, last year they had a listen and learn session. A listen and learn session. We were part of it from ISPE and also from the Pharma 4.0 perspective. So we presented our operating model, our Pharma 4.0 operating model, as well as several case studies during 2 days. This was quite interesting, and the regulators were learning. And we had some interesting discussions before, after these sessions, and this was really helpful to bring understanding to everybody. And the baseline guide, what I just mentioned from ISPE, is a neutral platform to, let's say, harmonize our ideas and our understanding. Very important. And the understanding of quality management maturity is, from my perspective, of course, the driver from the FDA, from the regulators. Yeah, so they think that improving quality, cost of quality. Do I have a high level of quality? Then compliance comes for free. This is a little bit my thesis here. And also the quality management maturity program itself, and also how we see it in ISPE, is not a purely quality one. It contains also aspects here like continual improvement, manufacturing strategy and operations, productivity optimization, the 5 S's. So we have all the aspects from a business standpoint also under this umbrella. That's very important. So don't see it isolated as a pure quality initiative. It's also a business initiative. And this is anyhow the paradigm from Pharma 4.0, that we are thinking holistically. Holistically means we mean supply chain, we need operations, process development, up to the patient, and also connected health. We do see here in our scope, where we are pretty poor at the moment still. And who is interested in to see this and to learn? The holistic quality management approach is really well written in these 5 guides. They are really good. Please look at these guides. They all have for their area, that are the elements of ICH-Q10, maturity models, which you can apply. So you can make easily for each area a maturity assessment, which clearly shows you where you are with your organization from a maturity standpoint and how to improve. And they are not costing a fortune, by the way. So how can we start? How do we learn where we are? This is an important point. Why do we do digitalization? As I mentioned, we are not doing digitalization because we want to have a cool virtual reality application down on the shop floor using it for something, yeah, changeover or whatever. We can do it, but very quickly we will see we might not succeed because the integration and the strategy is missing. So what do we do first? We make a positioning. This is a operating model now from a perspective of a heat map. You see the different colors here and the darkness of the colors in each segment here of the 4 elements. And this indicates how mature you are. A light color will say you are not advanced. A dark color will say you are highly advanced. So that's the logic. And this Excel spreadsheet-based maturity assessment you can do, it's quite simple. Not a lot of questions which are behind each box. It clearly indicates later on, as a result, this heat map showing, even for a manager, easy to understand, even for C-level, easy to understand, where is my organization strong in regard to digital business transformation and where is it weak. And we are not talking only about how many computers do we have on the shop floor. That's not the issue. So when we are having this, we are diving deeper into special areas. So this is a management tool, an orientation, yeah, like a compass. And then you can deep dive into the advancing pharmaceutical quality part, what I've just introduced, or you go into the digital plant model. Perhaps you know it from the Bioforum, this DPMMM 3.0, or you go into data integrity. Perhaps you have seen that you have some issues over there. You want to improve there, then use the GAMP one for data integrity improvements and assessments, or a pretty new one, what we have just invented in ISP in the Pharma 4.0 working group and the PAT group, is a control strategy maturity. Also very interesting to see how mature are you with your processes around the control strategy. Yeah, and this model, of course, we will also want to use to show an inspector coming in how mature we are with our organization. So the idea behind it was that we are using the maturity model from the FDA, which is communicated in the QMM program, and said, okay, this is also the one we want to use for our digital business transformation maturity. Yeah, I don't want to go into the details, but it's easy to see that we have the same criteria. Yeah, so this makes it comparable. So what do we do? The heat map actually is then easily comparable with the level of maturity of a QMM program as well. And at the end, it ranks you at a certain number. This, of course, is a little bit of mathematics in this Excel spreadsheet, giving you the ability then to evaluate a little bit more where you are. Okay, saying this, there's then the 5-level approach to the PQS in each of these advancing pharmaceutical quality system guidelines. This is important because when you start a digitalization program, you must have a very matured quality and also process organization. And this means going here from undefined and risk-based to a managed level, we are normally applying in the first steps the digitization. Digitization means I am connecting my shop floor. Secondly, we want to advance. We want to go into the predictive plant. We are far away from this, right? It takes some time more. But anyhow, this is a theory here that we are having then the improvement to the real Industry 4.0 world approach. But to start a digitalization, and this is the advice and takeaway for you for today, what we have seen is that we need just, in this case now, here's the digitalization level 3 readiness, because otherwise garbage in, garbage out. Yeah? The electronic system will do nothing better. A weak process will be a weak process before and after. So you have to mature your processes first. You have to do process mapping, process data mapping, data process flows must be clear. All this has to be done to have a successful project. And also the regulators have understood this. They clearly distinct here between digitalization, and automation. Yeah. I come in a minute to explain a little bit more in detail. So we have to grow holistically. Next step, the third one. So I mentioned the control strategy. The control strategy normally focuses only on the product itself, the CPP, CQRs, design space, and so on. But we enhance it here now to a real end-to-end process where we are really having a quality framework which is overarching now the whole supply chain we are having from raw material up to the patient. I have not the time to have a more deep dive into this. This is described in detail in the baseline guide. But this shows that we are having in the future to look to this holistically. And we need holistic teams. We need interdisciplinary teams. We need the collaboration of the different silos. We have to connect our silos. We will never break them, but we have to connect our silos and we have to bring people in these projects together. So digitalization projects do need people from quality, from engineering, IT, operations, regulatory, from all aspects. So let's come a little bit more down to earth now. Where are we today? Looking a little bit to what we have here is still the classical pyramid. We are happy that we are implementing it now. We have the classical ISA S95 approach, integration with S88, which is now enhanced in the direction of plug and produce, where we really want to have an environment in the future. Yeah, this is what we are dreaming of. Yeah, a whole packaging line has one plug. You plug you plug it into your IT environment, and then automatically, by magic, it starts like a printer to communicate with the environment, and everybody and the system knows. The overall system knows exactly which products, with which specifications, has a machine, for what products can I use the machine, and so on, so that I know also which data I have to exchange, which CPP, CQRs are going to be exchanged, the order numbers, batch numbers, and so on. Unfortunately, we are not yet fully there, but there are really good starting points. We have started to have a full description of this. So we call it, in our world here from Koerber, we call it MSI for our PAS-X product, but also other suppliers are in the meantime using it and adopting it. And so we are currently enhancing the world here of these suppliers and force them to work together. We have to force them because they don't have a big interest. And one message I have is here are so many owner companies and so many companies together. Actually, you are responsible for that. This is a very important message because the suppliers, I can tell you, they have 0.0 interest to harmonize. 0.0. This is the Apple problem with a USB plug. Yeah, with a USB-C. They don't want to be exchangeable. Yeah, they have no interest in this. So the only one to force the suppliers, the machine and equipment suppliers, to get this integration. Hopefully, I survive this evening. Will be the only and critical thing. What you can do is to force your suppliers in the RFPs here to use it and to provide it so that in the future we have a much easier environment, because the life cycle of all the interfaces is killing us. This gets a variety, a matrix which we cannot handle. Yeah? And this is what we are facing today. Yeah? So today we have a lot of islands. We have perhaps some nice automation islands. They are putting perhaps the data also in the data lake. Nice. But normally the data is drowning in the data lake because it's not interconnected. The standards are missing. Data contextualization normally is not there. Yeah, this is all missing. We have so much to do. And even in the Industry 4.0 world, this was identified, and we call it now the Manufacturing X initiative. You can Google this. You will find a lot of good papers already. There's an MTP concept already behind that. And this is exactly turning now the typical vertical pyramid approach into an interconnected plant. Yeah, the interconnected plant will have now the capabilities of having now the Industry 4.0 approach, which means each equipment, these white boxes here with the QR code are machines, having an administration shell around it. Also not here going into detail, but this is the approach that we are putting a shell, an administration shell, which is standardized and already described. This is existing. Yeah? These papers are all written, and there are also pilots out there in the industry, which are easily exactly doing this, building this plug, which is going to go into our information system. And one case study now here from the company Merck Darmstadt in Germany. They have already evaluated this Michelangelo Canzonieri from Merck. He is a very good friend of mine, is also author of this guide. He is the CDO in this company, and he is also for all businesses, Millipore, electronics, and pharma responsible. He brought it to a point. What he has to do in his organization first is the connectivity, server, data historian, all this nasty stuff here on the left-hand side. And under the NPV, the net promoter value, it's not a lot of value because it costs you a lot of money and you just have the data. This is not the end of the ladder. So this is the digitization step. Then we have to do the digitalization step, which is now transforming our data into into electronic processes. And then in the next step, we go into Pharma 4.0 operations. So this is really where we are getting the benefits, because then we have accurate data, Alcoa plus data available to make all our decision making, our APQRs, our evaluations, our real-time release testing, for example. All this nice stuff, the CPV, everything what makes our life in the future much more easy. But today, what we see is we have some lighthouses going vertically here through the environment, but definitely not rolled out. And I mentioned quality so much. Here's also one nice example. When you are asking who's responsible for that, sometimes the answer could be in the past, when we look also in the future. And I looked up my old slides I had from 2005, and I found a very interesting statement here from Karl Hornung. He was giving us the order at that time for the MES, and actually he was the electronic batch recording, let's say, and review by exception inventor. Because his goal was, I want to make quality control and batch record release more reliable. And this is why he said, we need this electronic batch recording system, and I am the system owner. So the system owner in Novartis at that time was quality and the total initiator of these projects. So a very interesting case study here as well, showing that this was very successful because, as I mentioned, the impact, the largest impact is in your quality department. If you don't have these guys aligned, it is very difficult to make this project. Not impossible, I will not say this one, but it will be much more difficult. So, coming more or less now to the end of my presentation, some tastes in here. So it's not only all science fiction. We have done this already for many organizations. It is the first step of integration and bringing an MES system, for example, in. And this is, I think, even more important when you have a factory of excellence to look into more sensitive processes, like, for example, cell and gene, where you have only, let's say, 20 days of throughput time and a lot of data, tons of data you have to mention, and a lot of manual processes which need to be fully controlled. You need a right first time approach here. Just to mention that these companies here are already using EBR system and the MES systems to guide the operator through this very complex process and to get an accurate batch record at the end, which is sometimes batch size 1 normally. Yeah, one last word perhaps also to digitalization, because I like this aspect. We have to think about sustainability. This is a very important point. It starts not only because I'm driving an electric car now. I think there are other things in our economy which have to change. I'm working now for a company who has 13,000 colleagues. Yeah, for me it is important for whom we are working, and for whom we are working for our patients. And I liked it. I mentioned I started in the company Verum, then this was taken over by Koerber. And Koerber actually is a foundation. So we are working for a foundation who is doing a lot of charity. I say always, all our profit is not going into the shareholders' yachts in the Mediterranean Sea, which I find pretty motivating for me. We are having a Koerber prize, a science prize, for example. We are giving this to student support. We have a lot of other charity activities where this money is going in. And for me, this from shareholder to stakeholder economy change is a very important one. I wanted to give this message here as a personal one from my side. And with this, I'm ending my part of the presentation. I would like to hand over to Rajesh, who is now telling us a little bit where we are having concrete case studies.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for having me here once again this time. And I was just thinking while coming back, I think I passed 25 years too early from this campus. I would have loved to be passed out from here. It's a beautiful campus, but yeah, it's never too late. So thank you, Christian. I mean, thank you for walking us to the journey of this digital travel and sharing the digital travel guide. Any journey starts with a story. And before that, what is that? This digital travel guide is not only digital, but it's a business transformation journey. And why we are calling it as a business transformation journey is the next few slides will show. But this is again coming along with a case study, what we are doing with Enq Eticals here. Any journey starts with a story. And this was an interesting story. I would like to share it with you. Just around 1 year back, or maybe slightly more than 1 year, I got a call from Mr. Mehul's office, and he asked me for a meeting, and they wanted to start to address these 3 issues. He's talking about compliance. He wanted to de-stress the system, and they wanted to keep it simple as well at the same time. When we were discussing about various options, we just wanted to understand what is the root cause of all these 3 things. We realized that this is one of the root cause. You understand this? This is a manual batch record. This is a copy of manual batch record. And now we are trying to address this issue by converting manual batch record to electronic batch record. And now converting manual batch record to electronic batch record is just not a data transfer or data conversion to electronic. It's completely digital business process transformation. How it goes? We were talking about every business process transformation will lead to elevate the process to the next level. How? Compliance. We started to address compliance, improved regulatory compliance, adherence to ALCOA, achieving paperless manufacturing. Obviously, when you are having paperless manufacturing, you'll have less manual interventions. Developed high level of data integrity. You have high level of accuracy of the data. So data integrity. Reduce cost of critical quality issues. This is one of the points what Christian mentioned about. But this not only achieved compliance, but it also elevated it. It took it to the next level. Coming back to the de-stressing the system, accelerating the data, accelerating the batch release time. You are taking, say, X number of hours, X number of days to release the batch. It has drastically coming down. Achieving right first time to reduce the waste. Obviously, you are doing so many things which are non-performing. Okay, and those are coming down drastically. Eliminated paper logs, checkbooks. E-log books are byproduct of this system. Whether you want it or not, it comes automatically. That was the biggest benefit. Review by exception, we just heard about that Carl Sonum was talking about review by exception. It drastically changes the approach towards reviewing the entire batch record. Created efficient equipment management. This also reduces clogging the system. People who are supposed to do their work, instead of that, they are ending up doing more of a paperwork. It releases their bandwidth. Also, in a way, it alleviates the productivity of the system. And the third point, keeping it simple, as simple as improving the resource management and efficiencies. Do we know all our equipments in our facility are 100% utilized? I'm not talking about only OE here. Quickly adapt to the changes, and those changes could be market changes, those changes could be regulatory bodies changes. We just heard about the Annex 1 as well. Seamless integration along with enterprise system for supply chain organization, optimization, and most importantly, gateway to the data analytics. Our day-to-day operation creates so much of data in our system, okay, and that data itself is a great source for data analytics. Because one of the things we should understand that data is being used is the most, I would say, authenticated resource for our data analytics, because that same data we are using for manufacturing batch record as well. And that improves the flexibility of the system. And now, along with Enq Eticals, there are so many companies in India has started already embarking upon this journey. And to start with, in India, we are supporting those manufacturers from 3 places in India, Mumbai, Pune, and Bangalore. But there are these OSD companies who are already working closely. There are these biotech companies who are already working closely with manufacturing electronic batch record and manufacturing execution systems. There are these injectable companies or sites. There are these API sites. There are these derma sites, of course, including the facilities in Goa, and medical devices sites. Along with that, 55 PASEX installations, MES installations in the world, in India. If you were asked me this question 4 years back, it would have been lower single-digit number. And this is what we are seeing, that the market in India is growing faster and faster since last few years' time. 1,300 installations worldwide, 4 years of FDA-approved sites, and most of the top 10 Indian pharmaceutical manufacturers are already embarking on the journey. With this, we would like to see in next 15 minutes time that how this journey is being embarked by Enq Eticals, and our friend from Enq Eticals, Renjith, would like to walk you through to the next journey. Renjith, thank you.
So, thank you, Rajesh, and thank you, Christian. Good evening to all the respected dignitaries, my fellow colleagues. I am privileged to be here to share my experience on the MES deployment, which we have done recently at Enq Eticals. Let me introduce briefly about Enq Eticals. We are an integrated pharmaceutical company dedicated only for semi-solid topical formulations. We serve more than 100 million patients and consumers across 20 plus countries through our 50 plus customers. Our portfolio includes 150 CDMO products and 30 plus filed generics products. We engage in technology transfer of 20 products per year. We have 2 manufacturing locations, one at Goa and another one is Indore, and we have a full-fledged R&D equipped at Mumbai. We are a people-centric organization with 100 plus talents and 200 plus R&D specialists. We have 30% quality team dedicated in the total number of employees what we have. You can correlate with what our founder and managing director, Mr. Mehul sir, said in the morning, the afternoon, quality, quality, quality. And that's how we focus on quality here. Our 4 value system, passion, agility, courage, and ownership, is the foundation to become the preferred choice of customers for topical pharmaceuticals. Soon after the inception, almost like 7 years, we started our journey towards automation and digitization, and we started with SAP in 2005. Thereafter, we have automated our warehouse with automated storage and retrieval system, followed by automating our dispensing systems, and we have implemented IIoT for engineering and utility systems. Subsequent years, we have focused on improving and automating our quality management system across the plant and the laboratory. MES implementation was the most recent initiative which we took in the recent year. last year we have accomplished it. Like every organization, there is a purpose for MES. We also have a purpose, and it is slightly different than others. I would like to share my own experience and say what is the purpose behind our MES deployment. Actually, I'm a quality operations guy, and like all the operations guys who work on the shop floor, we have a lot of pressure and tension, anxiety at the floor. When we work, we go home, we carry anxiety at home. We get phone calls, sometimes midnight, while driving, eating. And the fact is that being a responsible person, we can't avoid it. We have to pick up and talk and give solutions. And sometimes there is very minimum data point to give decisions. Issues on the shop floor, inconsistent operations, compliance issues, and then finally dissatisfaction of the customers. This cycle continues. And it is at that point of time when we think about a one-stop solution and MES comes into picture. It is in March 2022 when our then CEO, Mr. Prabhakar Nair, he has presented the idea of MES, and then we thought of, our managing directors quickly got that as an opportunity, and we started working on it and give a green flag to go ahead. So when we speak about MES as a goal and the results, ease of operation and flexibility was always our top priority. When we say ease of operation, it is about the operator who actually manufactures the product and actually touches the product. User-friendly instructions. How much you give clarity to an operator, minimum intervention, he has to focus on the product, and very minimum intervention with respect to the papers he handled. We had an assessment done where our batch records have approximately 850 entries. And when we did the deep analysis, we understood that 50% are only signatures, just signatures. And remaining 10% is tick marks. Another 10% is time and date. Only 20% is real parameter entries. We in pharma industry have a habit of satisfying many stakeholders, sometimes regulators, sometimes our bosses, and sometimes ourselves. And we overdo things. And that is where exactly when we sit in the boardroom and discuss good ideas, good strategies come. But when we go to the floor, when we talk to the operator, the real insightful idea comes. We have a couple of good examples. When we started interacting with the shop floor team, we have changed the IPC design completely. After one good input from an operator, we in semi-solid topical heating and cooling is very important. And we identified that cooling and heating switches are next to each other, and the guy was pressing and doing wrong thing every time. And he gave an idea, this is the problem. And we were banging the guy, filling human error checklist again and again and again, and giving training to him. The real problem was the design of the screen. And that is how we started getting inputs, and the entire trajectory changed. A lot of such initiatives are done. My request is, whoever is involved in such projects, we need to go down and get more inputs from the users. They are the real change makers. Secondly, our focus was on quality. Being a company, 25-year-old since inception, old system, legacy products, putting those products into MES was a real challenge. We need to know what is our drawbacks, what are our gaps, and what systems we are having. Consistency of quality can be achieved only if you have consistent parameters. So we should have the courage to correct our system, and that is what we also did in our case. And we have gone for changing many utilities and equipment before we actually decided to go for MES. And remaining data compliance, we all know this is an obvious outcome of MES. If you go for MES, you will surely get data. But somebody mentioned, Christian has mentioned, garbage in, garbage out. So if your processes are not good, you will get the same results. And I was also wondering many times when this project came to us. We were only talking about these 3 priorities. We never spoke about the last one. But slowly, I realized that if you focus on these 3, the 4th one is a byproduct. So when we decided to go for MES deployment, the next step was to find a good partner. We need a right partner and a right strategy for become successful in this initiative. This is one area most of us make mistake, because we always go for obvious question because we don't know much. Our limited information and we think we are too smart, but we only limit ourselves only with the obvious questions. The most spoken, often spoken questions are only the tip of the iceberg. The critical and significant question lies much below. Like, what is the maturity of the solution? What is the track record of the delivery partner? Do they have adequate knowledge and execution experience? This is very important because we are new. We are new to the system. We are experienced and our core competencies in manufacturing the product, not in the software. So it is very important that you select the right partner who has this experience, who has gone through this journey. Are they pharma focused? This is a very important aspect again. Are they pharma focused? Because it is very important to have a very good critical thinking conversation with the partner, because if you are not on the same page, if you don't understand what you want, you are in trouble, because our expectation never stops. We have a cross-functional team for the project, and when we do the project, lot of idea comes. And if your partner is not a pharma background, he don't have anything to give it back to you. He will just listen to you and do it. And we are expert in overdoing. So that is the reason we need to ask this question. And beyond that, maturity of our own system has to be assessed, which normally we miss. How much we are capable in terms of engineering aspects, how much we are capable in terms of IT, how much we are capable in terms of integrating things. These all are important to be asked. So exactly after 5 months of this assessment, we have finalized our partner, and Koerber Viram was the partner, and we have joined hands with them to kickstart our project. Soon after that, we started upgrading our system at grassroots level. As I mentioned, it was very important because we were completely immature with old system, 25-year-old organization and legacy products. We corrected all our systems, right from cooling system, heating system, and upgraded all our manufacturing vessels, HMIs to IPCs. Weighing balances were upgraded for integration purpose. Then the BMS system, building management system, was integrated and upgraded. We have found many quick ideas also, like BMS system was a validated system. To disturb and integrate a system which is already running is always difficult. So there were some quick ideas, again came from the shop floor, from an IT guy, saying that the network router can be used. So that IP address change and the system is directly integrated. There is no validation, there is no impact on the existing system. And then we have integrated all the parameters from the manufacturing vessel and the utilities to the L2 historian server to integrate with the MES. In September, we kickstarted the project, and I was assigned as a project lead. And we have formed a cross-functional team which included manufacturing, the real user, production, which we call packing, IT, engineering, and QA. So we had a team which, taken up this charge. Apart from that, there were experts from the Koerber team. They have a good team of SMEs from SAP, IT, and PCS. And beyond this, we also established a governance system which is very important for such projects. Management support in this kind of initiatives is very, very important, because we are going to have pitfalls, and important is that there is a backup, there is a support, because the chances of failures are very high here. It is so that support and trust from the management is very important here. So governance system with right escalation matrix was important. A periodic review, a quarterly review, always course correction, the strategy changed, it is not that like you said and everything goes the straight line. No, there are a lot of pitfalls. There is a lot of course correction happens during the, it's a journey kind of. So it is too early for us to, say that this is what we have achieved, because what I could say after just 3 months of going live, the data which we have, I can kind of predict that this is going to happen in next 1 year. So these papers, the obvious one, like papers will get reduced, but I am very interested to say this part, which I already mentioned, like 850 entries per batch record. If you remove tick marks and signature, because in MES there is no tick mark, there is no signature, because the guy has to only process, and if it is end-to-end integration, he don't have to do all this on the paper. So this 75% of his time is given to the product. He is focused on the product. So that is the main benefit which we are feeling is like a bonus to us. And the deviation will certainly come down, because the manual errors will come down, the documentation errors will come down, because a lot of energy goes behind that. We sometimes even unable to count, because the seniors and the members involved in investigation across the cross-functional team, it is it is countless. The review by exception option. Here in batch release, the traditional way of reviewing the batch records, page by page, line by line, and you flip and then after that also there is no guarantee that you are through. So here the review by exception is a function of MES, which only review what is required, and system itself will tell that this is only required, so go through it. So it makes things much easy, and only we can do it like 30% of time out of the 100% time required for batch release. So I'm very proud to say that on 27th of October, we went live in our Goa hormone block. Thank you. And we are planning to roll out to our Indore location by end of this quarter. This was one of the fastest deployment. Normally, Koerber standard is 10 to 12 months. We could complete in 13 months with L2 integration. Fastest implementation was never our target, but right implementation was our target. And finally, we could achieve both. Thank you. So we manufacture product for domestic market, US FDA, European market, all the countries. So our target is to roll out to all the lines without any limitation. There is no limitation. We'll be doing it for all the line across the country. And also I would like to say that this cross-functional team which we have formed, although it was very difficult and challenging in the beginning, I myself did not have any experience of MES. I am also an exception as a project lead here, because in the industry, if you see DRL and many other organizations, Lupin, Cipla, they all done. All the project leads are from IT background. I'm not from an IT background. It was very difficult for me at that time, but the management's trust and support, we could do it. Although also we had a late movers advantage, and we could learn many things during this process. But in this case, we did differently. We did not hire anybody who had experience in MES. We only picked up those young brains or fresh minds, those who are very passionate, and formed a team. And today I can proudly say that in this team, nobody is there who knew MES. Everybody learned only at this stage. Thank you. Last, I would like to share this, that we very recently realized that tomorrow, the future, the new entrants who are coming to our organization, they should be well equipped, well trained, about the manufacturing process, and they also should be, knowing the technology what we have. So this is our vision, to create a state-of-art experience center, which will have a fusion of experience and technology. So here the manufacturing area and filling and packing line will be created with a GMP environment, wherein new entrants can come and manufacture a batch without any pressure. We will be manufacturing placebo batches as a part of the training, and he will go through all this experience, which after some time he will actually feel on the shop floor. So we are doing this along with the help of Koerber Pharma. So as everyone said, it is a journey and we are not there. We are continuously doing it, and we are, these are our target. With all our hard work and commitment, I'm sure that we will be able to bring smile on the faces of all the stakeholders, right from the one who is manufacturing the batch and to the one who is consuming the product. Thank you so much.